In Colombia, the government of President Gustavo Petro has confiscated around 640 tons of narcotics this year. In South Korea, citizens protested against radioactive water released into the ocean from Japan's Fukushima plant. In Gabon, the general elections in which President Ali Bongo Ondimba is running for a third term in office are proceeding normally. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Colombia, the government of President Gustavo Petro has confiscated around 640 tons of narcotics this year. According to the operational results provided by the defense authorities together with the military leadership in aspects such as drug seizures and illegal mining, during the first 8 months of 2023, the National Navy managed to seize 4% more than the tons of cocaine hydrochloride seized in the same period in 2022. Concerning marijuana confiscations, authorities managed to complete 98% of the annual goal, with an increase of 72% concerning the same period in 2022. In addition, the seizure of almost 19 tons of coca base stands out. That is a 40% increase in seizures compared to the result for 2022. Ecuadorians living abroad will have to vote again to elect their representative to the legislature after the failures of the telematic vote last Sunday, as decided by the National Electoral Council. In total, there are 6 seats in dispute, 2 of each of the special constituencies of Europe, Asia and Oceania, Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa, the Canada and the United States. The National Electoral Council stated that the elections abroad for presidential binomial, president and vice president, and the popular consultation on fraction in Yasuni will not be repeated because, although the votes were declared null, the figures do not affect the total results. The decision comes after the accusation of fraud due to the problems that occurred last August 20th. Brazil's government invests in upgrading and equipping military forces. The measure consists of doubling the size of a fighter-led and financing project of the local aeronautical manufacturer Embraer for aerial refueling planes. The amount of the investment is $10.8 billion for research, development, and acquisition of state-of-the-art tactical equipment. This is part of the Growth Acceleration Program with a view to equipping the armed forces with advanced technology, improving the country's defense capabilities, and guarding the country's borders. The government of Bolivia has announced a bias the country's economic performance evaluation made by the United States agency Fitch Ratings. Fitch Ratings upgraded Bolivia's rating to -B after the decrease in the national reserves, which, according to the agency, weakened the country's economy. This approach was described as pessimistic by the Bolivian economy authorities, who explained in a communique that did not take into account the progress in the implementation of projects initiated in previous stages and which will begin to generate income for the country. Likewise, the document states that Bolivia has been able to maintain price stability at a time of international volatility and uncertainty, and urges a responsible and balanced approach to the evaluation of the credit rating and the issuance of comments on this matter. The 2 main presidential candidates of the Argentine opposition for the October elections, the far-right Javier Milei and the right-wing Patricia Bullrich, rejected the announcement entry of the South American country to the BRICS, a group made of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Bullrich anticipated that she will cancel the entry to the group if she assumes powers on December 10. Milei said that he does not want to deal with nations governed by the left. Both candidates spoke at a date of conferences of the U.S. Business Organization Council of Americas, which gathered in Buenos Aires political leaders from the ruling opposition parties. On Wednesday in Johannesburg, South Africa, the BRICS announced the enlargement of the BRICS with 60 members, which in addition to Argentina include Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. On Friday, residents of Carrefour in Haitian capital Port-au-Prince had to flee their homes to escape another bout of gang violence. Earlier this month, the same neighborhood was attacked, and hundreds of families were displaced. The Haitian National Police informed that it will secure the area, but it did not stop the gangs from continuing a violent takeover of yet another part of the capital. Angered by the gang violence, residents and protesters from other areas blocked streets and burned tires and vehicles. Wearing face masks and carrying machetes, they gathered in front of police station to demand their support in resisting the gang. Since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021, gangs have seized control of up to 80% of Port-au-Prince, killing, raping, and sowing terror in communities already suffering endemic poverty. Citizens in the United States called for a huge march to the Lincoln Memorial to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the historic rally in Washington, where civil rights leader Martin Luther King gave his acclaimed "I Have a Dream" speech. The commemoration was organized by the Drum Major Institute, a group headed by the King family and the National Action Network. The parade will recall the March of August 28, 1963, for jobs and justice. The United States is going through a regressive process on voting rights, abortion, and sexual diversity communities, which means that many of the problems that led citizens to march still persist. In the face of this, the Institute, at the head of the National Action Network, insists on the need to continue the struggles in this regard. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, new dates, and more. Other studies coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In South Korea, citizens protested against the release of radioactive water from Japan's Fukushima power plant into the ocean. Demonstrators gathered in the special city of Seoul, the country's capital, to express their rejection against the release of treated radioactive wastewater by Japan into the sea and to criticize the South Korean government for supporting the release plan. Protesters urged the Japanese government to safely store radioactive water in tanks instead of releasing it into the Pacific Ocean. During these demonstrations, over 10 people were arrested. Although the Japanese government and some scientists have insisted that this water poses no risk to ecosystems, several neighboring countries have expressed their displeasure with the measure.
Japan, once in the past, invaded the people and lands of the world, killing them with guns and knives for their own profit. Japan has started a Pacific war again by committing this environmental crime. If it is that safe, why won't Japan store it in their own land instead of releasing it into the world's well, the Pacific Ocean, and worrying everyone and harming their health? Diluting it won't make it disappear. Japan is a war criminal that has committed crimes against the world's environment.
Ban all Japanese imports so that we, South Koreans, can safely eat our own seafood.
In China, local governments cooperate with farmers to recover farmland destroyed by rains in recent months. Authorities in Xi'an municipality reported that they have rainfall high-risk areas to ensure that villagers can safely transport crops when the autumn harvest comes in. The government also said that since Wednesday they have repaired a total of 40 kilometers of roads, 60 bridges and culverts. Business owners also made contributions to repair the appliances of the affected villagers. France recorded a heat wave with record temperatures, the highest on the Mediterranean coast. The World Meteorological Organization reported that gas emissions are causing intense and long-lasting temperatures, especially in the European territory. It also highlighted that the heat record was set last Thursday. Conditions are already improving by the end of the week. No department in France declared a maximum red alert level for temperatures over 39 degrees Celsius. In France, the former socialist candidate for the elites in 2007, Ségolène Royal, announced on weekend that she intends to head a united list of the left for the European elections in June 2024, with La France Insoumise, Jean-Luc Mélenchon's radical left party. Royal, who has distanced herself from the Socialist Party, intends to launch its own list for the European elections, along with ecologists and communists presented her plans during the LFI summer university sessions in Châteauneuf-sur-Isère. In a press appearance, she explained that what she is looking for is a dynamic of convergence. Royal backed Mélenchon in the first round of the presidential election last year, rather than the socialist candidate Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo, who had the worst results in the Paris history with 1.75% of the vote. The head of the left-wing French bout, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, says he approves of Ségolène Royal's initiative to unite left-wing party for the next European elections.
Tremendous help. We, unbowed, are unionists. We are united. We are in favor of a joint list because we have a shared agenda for Europe. Ségolène Royal has shown boldness and courage, and she knows very well that she won't just get compliments, but I want to approve her initiative and her contribution to the battle for the Union.
The International Soccer Association Federation announced a temporary suspension of the Spanish Federation President Luis Rubiales. In the meantime, they have appointed pro-Russia as interim president while an investigation is underway into Rubiales' behavior during the Women's World Cup Australia and New Zealand 2023 awards ceremony, where Rubiales kissed gold medalist Jenny Hermoso without her consent. Spain's women head coach Jorge Vilda's entire coaching staff has resigned. The 11 staffers issued statements last resignation in protest for what they consider unacceptable attitudes and statements by Spanish Soccer Association President Rubiales, currently under a 90-day suspension. Last Friday, before the extraordinary General Assembly of the Royal Spanish Soccer Federation, Rubiales repeatedly said he will not be stepping down, and he questioned feminism and even announced legal actions of his own against Spanish government acting Vice President Yolanda Díaz, who has called for his resignation alongside with acting Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. The coaches said that by resigning, they are accepting their share of responsibility in regards to the restructuring and professionalization of the women's team, something for which they had eagerly worked. On Saturday, the London Museum in the United Kingdom suffered several thefts of valuable and memorable antiquities. Authorities claim the museum was alerted in 2021 due to the trafficking of antiquities being auctioned on sales websites. Gallery director Hartwig Fisher resigned after the institution failed to respond to the theft alarms and will conduct a thorough investigation. Museum President George Osborne said the priority now is to recover the objects and invest in security. Founded in 1753, the British Museum is one of the most famous museums in the world, with a collection of some 8 million objects, including ancient Egyptian artifacts, the skilled world civilization, Greece and Rome. In the Russian region of Belgorod, several people are reported wounded as a result of a Ukrainian attack with cluster munitions. According to local reports, the Ukrainian army fired multiple grab rocket launchers at the village of Uraltsovo, located in the region, leaving at least 6 people injured. Those affected were taken to medical care centers, one of them in serious conditions. The attack also caused material damage to several houses, businesses, automobiles, and a power line. So far, operational and emergency services are currently working on site. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel and teleSUR English, there you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, sub-stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's more recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Gabon, the general elections in which President Ali Bongo Dimba is running for a third term in office are proceeding normally. More than 850,000 Gabonese are being called to the polls since early morning to cast their ballots. In these one-round elections, the citizens will have to choose the next president of the nation, the member of the parliament, and the municipal authorities. Bongo and his main rival, Albert Ondo Osa, are leading the race for the presidency in this small state of just 2.3 million inhabitants. According to polls, it is the candidate for re-election who is the favorite. Bongo aspires to continue in the footsteps of his father, who governed the country for 41 years, while the opposition announces that the new voting system seeks to perpetuate Bongo. We reviewed the election process in Zimbabwe. The largest opposition party, the Citizens Coalition for Change, held a press conference on the results. Through his spokesperson, Promise Janussi, who praised the work of election observers and made some criticism of the ruling party, let's listen.
The election observer missions raised and confirmed a series of electoral malpractices which resonate with our own assessments. Number one, the absence of electoral reforms, a flawed and controversial delimitation exercise. Dr. Mumba's unwavering commitment to ensuring transparency in the elections was met with unfortunate threats, including death threats and intimidations, especially from ZANU-PF leaders and supporters.
So we know these results. We know that we are preparing and set for a satisfactory outcome. We are happy with what we have so far. We will keep it to our chests, but we know and we are assuring our supporters that we are heading for good times.
In Sudan, a powerful explosion was reported on Saturday in the city of Khartoum, the country's capital. According to reports, the explosion occurred near the facility of the Armed Forces Command Headquarters and the Presidential Palace. At the moment, it is not known if there are any deaths, injuries, or major material damage. The explosion occurred in the midst of armed clashes between the Sudanese Regular Army and the Rapid Support Forces, beginning in mid-April due to disagreements over the inclusion of firefighters in the armed forces. In Burundi, President Evariste Ndayishimiye said his country and China share a pragmatic and equality relationship as the two nations are working hand in hand for further development. In an exclusive interview with China Global Television Network during his stay in China, Ndayishimiye talked about his view when asked about the significance of China's contribution to Burundian agriculture.
The Chinese experts have been working in the field alongside the people of Burundi, as our relations are indeed pragmatic. China's contribution to Burundi is a pride of Burundi. As I said, we are working together. The people of the two countries are equally hardworking, and we are heading forward hand in hand. This is an equal relationship, rather than act that a powerful country points fingers at undeveloped countries. The fact is we are making efforts together.
Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel pays a visit to Namibia as the last stop on his tour of Africa. The Cuban heads of state arrived in the African country by his wife Liz Cuesta Barraza and the delegation that accompanies him. He was received at the Hosea Kutato Airport in the city of Windhoek by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for International Relations and Cooperation of Namibia, Netumbo Nandi. The Cuban president later went to the State House, where his counterpart, H. Ngub, officially welcomed him. Díaz-Canel will remain in the country for 2 days and will be the guest of honor at the celebration of the Heroes' Day, where tribute will be paid to the Cubans who fought for the freedom of that nation. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.